There is a particular kind of person who comes to therapy, or who avoids therapy precisely because they cannot commit to a therapist, a schedule, a therapeutic framework that might not be perfect, who is not, in any ordinary sense, suffering from low ambition. They suffer from the opposite. They care so much about getting life right that they have become unable to live it. Viktor Frankl had a name for the mechanism that drives this pattern: hyperreflection. And he had a treatment for it: dereflection. Together, they illuminate something that the standard discourse on perfectionism, with its emphasis on lowering standards, practicing self-compassion, embracing the good enough, almost entirely misses. Hyperreflection is not simply overthinking. It is a specific kind of self-focused attention that undermines the very thing it is trying to protect. Frankl observed it most clearly in cases of sexual dysfunction, patients who were so focused on performing correctly, so anxious about whether they were experiencing the right thing in the right way, that the monitoring itself destroyed the spontaneity that made the experience possible. But the mechanism extends far beyond the bedroom. It extends to anyone who is so focused on the quality of what they are doing that they can no longer do it. The perfectionist who cannot begin a project because it might not be done perfectly. The person who cannot commit to a relationship because it might not be the right relationship. The student who reads every possible book on a subject before daring to write a word about it. The person who researches the meaning of their life so extensively that they forget to live one. All of these are variations on hyperreflection, the gaze so turned inward, so fixed on the performance of the self, that the self collapses under the observation. Frankl understood this as a specifically existential problem. The perfectionist, in their deepest structure, is not merely afraid of failure. They are afraid of discovering that nothing they do will be adequate to the seriousness of existence, that life requires something of them they are not sure they can deliver. The perfectionism is not vanity. It is, paradoxically, a form of deep seriousness that has turned against itself. And here is the trap. The perfectionist often frames their condition as a virtue. They are not procrastinating, they tell themselves, they are being careful. They are not avoiding commitment, they are waiting for certainty. They are not paralyzed, they are thorough. The reframe is self-protecting but self-defeating. The more seriously they take the importance of getting it right, the less right anything they actually do will seem, because nothing done under the pressure of perfectionistic scrutiny can survive that scrutiny intact. Frankl's response, dereflection, is not a suggestion to care less. It is a redirection of attention. Instead of focusing on the self, on how you are performing, on whether you are experiencing meaning correctly, on whether your choices will stand up to retrospective judgment, dereflection turns your attention outward, toward the task, the person, the world, toward something that is genuinely asking something of you. This is not anti-intellectual. It is not a prescription for mindlessness. It is the recognition that meaning is not something you manufacture by thinking about it hard enough. Meaning is something you discover by engaging with what is actually in front of you. The person who looks up from their reflection long enough to actually help someone, actually finish something, actually show up for another human being, that person often discovers, afterward, that something like meaning was present. Not because they planned it, but because they forgot to keep themselves from it. The paradox Frankl identified is precise. The more directly you pursue meaning, the more likely you are to miss it. Meaning, like happiness, is a byproduct. It arrives when you are doing something other than hunting it. The perfectionist who insists on a guaranteed meaningful life before committing to any particular one will never have either. What would Frankl say to the perfectionist? He would probably not say, lower your standards. He would say, turn around. Stop looking at yourself. There is something out there that needs you. It will not wait for you to be ready. Subscribe to The Psychology of Viktor Frankl to explore more of his timeless ideas.